Let's talk about standing starts. Something that from my experience most people just don't practice, but you can actually gain quite a lot of time and positions there. So, have you ever qualified on pole? Yeah, me neither. But let's pretend you got pole, you're super excited for the race, and then...
Green flag, green flag.
Hey guys, I'm Dan and today I want to give you a few tips how to avoid this. This is the first video of a new series that kinda should continue the beginner guide, but also should be very helpful for advanced players. So if you have any topics that you would like to have covered in these videos, leave a comment down below or send me a message on Twitter or something. Also, I'm streaming on Twitch, usually on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Fridays starting around 12 GMT. And would love to see you guys there. But yeah, back to standing starts. There are a few different ways to do the standing starts on iRacing, and none of the possibilities that I will show you today actually uses clutch pedal. So we will cover a lazy way that just uses the brake and the throttle, a way with a dual clutch system if you have one on your wheel, and another one where we will emulate a dual clutch system using buttons on your wheel or on your keyboard, for example. Most cars on iRacing work very similar on a standing start. There are a few odd ones, but we'll get to that later, and I'm going to show you how to start with the Porsche Cup car in this guide, because I think this is probably one of the most difficult cars to start. For the super OP start where we will gain a lot of positions, you will need to operate the gas pedal, the brake and the clutch at the same time. But actually that sounds more complicated than it is, but let's hop into the rig. Also, we now got merch for the channel, as you can probably see. If you want to support the channel and maybe like the shirts, link to the merch store in the description below. Okay, there we go. First method, we are just going to use the brake and the throttle pedal, no clutch at all. The only thing you gotta make sure is when you go to the options, you need to have anti-stall clutch enabled so you don't stall the engine. Or yeah, you can also use shift, blip, clutch, obviously, but at least use anti-stall clutch. And then, pretty easy, you just grid. You go on the brakes. As you can see in that telemetry widget, I'm on the brakes. First gear, throttle, both at the same time. And when the red lights go out, you just go off the brake.
Green, green, green.
So there we go, no spinning tires. A decent start.
You're on the right, 3 wide.
Yeah, this usually works for nearly all the cars.
On your left, 2 wide.
So we got up to
Clear on the left.
P5. Yeah, this is like, that works on every car. It's not the best start, but it's definitely better than trying to shift into first on green or something. Use that if you don't use a clutch, if you want the easy way, and yeah, but let's go to the dual clutch method. Okay, dual clutch. If you have one on your wheel, very useful for standing starts. What you need to do is obviously assign the dual clutch to your clutch. You can do this by using that second clutch option, or you can just assign it as a pedal, however you wish. And then you probably have a software for your dual clutch. This is the one from the Ascher Racing F64-USB clutch bite point. For the Porsche Cup car, something around 43% works very well. And then what you want to do is a little bit more complicated, because you use clutch, brake and throttle pedal at the same time. So either you need 3 feet or a clutch on your wheel. So you want to go on the brakes for 100% clutch, go into first gear, full throttle, then gently release the clutch to the bite point and then release the brakes on green. And this is like, I think this is the most OP start you can do on iRacing. I can show it to you. So check the telemetry widget, brakes, clutch, first gear, full throttle, slowly release the clutch to the bite point, and then release on green. Look at this.
On the right, 3 wide. Left side, two
Nearly
wide. You're on
got
the
to
right,
P1
three
starting
wide.
from
Left
P10.
side, two wide.
Only
Right side, clear.
we crashed Galvin, I'm
Left
sorry.
side, clear.
This is just an iRace. But yeah, I'll show it once more. You can very nicely practice this in AI races, by the way. So, brake. Clutch, first gear, throttle. Release the clutch to the right point. And then on green.
Green flag, green flag.
And then slowly release the clutch to 0%. Play around with the bite point to find the ideal setting and
You're in the middle, three wide. Clear, two wide. Stay on the right.
up to second here now.
Clear on the left.
So yeah,
Right
but
side,
you're
clear.
probably, like most of you probably don't have a dual clutch. But,
They say you cut the cord. You'll have to slow down and give up the time gained.
please, I'm just doing a guide. No need to get here super serious about cutting the course. But yeah, now will show you how you can emulate a dual clutch without actually having one. Okay, so if you don't have a dual clutch, which most of you probably don't, download VJoy. Click on download, install, download, and just download it for your OS. And then the other software you need is this Universal Control Remapper, so we can then assign a button to that virtual joystick. Download is here, download it from GitHub, latest version, whatever. Then what you want to do is start VJoy. Make sure to have at least one controller available. So here the one, enable VJoy, and you just need one axis. So you can configure it like this. I mean, you can have more, but we don't need it. So one is more than enough. I just chose X here. Then you can close that again. Then you can open your game controller, and you should be able to see this VJoy device. And if you click on properties, there should be one axis. But that doesn't really help. So we need UCM. Just unzip it somewhere and then start UCRX. And this should look like this when you start it. Well, this shouldn't be there, but let's create a new profile. Let's call it dual clutch. And the input devices will be, well, whatever you want. I'm going to use a button on my wheel. So I'm selecting the Ascher Racing F64 as an input device. And then as an output device, we want to make sure that we have the VJoy stick 1. Okay, create. Then we get this window here. And what you want to do is this here, button to axis. Map from one button to different axis values. So click on plus. Mapping name will be random button. Accept. Okay, so here you have the input button. Click to bind. We're going to use this button here on the wheel, so I'm clicking that. And then button to axis, VJoy stick 1. Click to bind. Axis X. So this is the axis we configured in the VJoy. And here it gets interesting. Axis on release. So when I don't press the button, it should be on 0. And when pressed, it should be on 100 for now. Then we can save on this icon here. Go to options. Something that I found you maybe need to do if you use like a button on the wheel. Go to pedals, calibrate your pedals, yeah, brake, and then just use something on your keyboard as a button here for the clutch. Done. Because if I would press this button, sometimes it recognizes the axis, sometimes it recognizes this button, I don't know why. But here on second clutch, it only works with an axis. So click here, and then click this button. And if you didn't start it, it looks like this. Click on play here, do it again, and then you have the axis. So now it goes from 50 to 100, whatever. Calibrated using that. Done. Now you have the clutch on this button. And what you want to do now is stop this button assignment. And axis when pressed is is your bite point now. So if you put this to 43% or 43, you start it again, you will see that your clutch now only goes to 43%. Okay, now we have our bite point here, and you gotta be a little bit careful at the start, because you won't be able to smoothly go to a bite point, but we will slam it in first gear, so make sure you're on the brakes or you might jump the start. So what you want to do is, well, grid, neutral, full throttle, bite point, first gear, and then release the brakes.
Green flag, green flag.
You see, I released the button a little bit too early, and I got some wheel spin, but it's as good as when you start with a real dual clutch, with an analog dual clutch. Let's try it again. So you really gotta be careful at the start to get the correct order. Sometimes I'm sitting there at the start and I'm like, oh no, which was the correct order? I've jumped the start once because I used the wrong order, so be careful. So once more, grid. Neutral, full on the brakes, full throttle, clutch, first gear, and then release the brakes when the red lights go out, and make sure you don't release the clutch too early.
Green flag, green flag.
So around 70 kilometers per hour is fine. You can probably release it a little bit earlier for a better start.
You're on the right.
And there we go.
Car on your left, too wide.
Oops. Sorry, Jose.
Keep to the right. Clear.
Typical geodesic driver. But yeah. That's how you can do a dual clutch start without having an actual dual clutch. If you want to, you can also, like, when you're here in the pedals, do this. And then use another button on your wheel, for example this one, for the clutch, and then you can well, you can go smoother to your bite point. Well, it's still a big step, but press both buttons, both clutch buttons, brake, first gear, full throttle, and then release the right clutch button,
Green flag, green
and
flag.
then only hold the bite point clutch button, and yeah, there we go. And that is how you can do these OP starts, and then throw it away in turn 1. Because that's how it goes, right? But yeah, okay, these are the 3 methods you can do. I'll show you something that is a bit different for the roof. So let's load into the practice session with that. So since the roof is not available for AI, we're just gonna do a test drive. Look at the amazing loading times here. Bam, 100%. But yeah, the roof has a very aggressive traction control, and the series is a fixed setup series, so you can't really change it. So what you want to do for this car here, for this car here, is go to the options and then look for traction control toggle, and then assign this. Let's use this button here, traction control toggle. So if you press the button, the traction control will be disabled for a few seconds. And then same principle applies. Let's just pretend this is called Top Porsche. And now we're gonna create a new one, and we're gonna call it Roof. Same thing again, VJoy, no, Ascher to VJoy, create, button to access, mapping name, this button to this axis, 0 to 100, yes, to calibrate it. Second clutch will be this button again, done. And now we can set it to the bite point. Let's try 30%, done, test. The perfect way to start a car against the wall. Okay, so brake, full throttle, clutch, first gear. Then, yeah, this is the button for the traction control override. Just spam it till you get the green lights. So, and then let's pretend, okay, now's the start. Release the brakes. And you can see that we need less clutch. So let's try 20%. Always reset the car, because yeah, with all those practice starts to heat up the tires and you might have more grip. So if you calibrate the bite point, always make sure to reset that. Clutch, brake, full throttle, first gear. Oh, you can see this is too much because the RPM was too low. 25. Still. Try 28. Good work. Traction control override. And launch. Like that. So yeah, that's with the roof. And it's basically the same for all the cars. Play around with it. The Radical, the F3 car. You just need to find your bite point and then you should be fine. But yeah guys, those are the 3 methods how to do good or really OP starts on iRacing. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Most of the cars start the same. Just play around with the bite point. I usually set it to like 30% and then do a practice start. If you get wheel spin, increase this value until you don't get any wheel spin. If you don't get wheel spin, you can obviously decrease the clutch bite point until you see some slight wheel spin and then increase it slightly again. And I think I just said wheel spin like very often, but whatever. But yeah, make sure you definitely reset the car on those adjustment steps, since every practice start increases the tire temperature and should give you more grip, so the values you might get then are not as accurate. This should give you something to try out when doing standing starts, and I hope you never use those when you race against me, obviously. I hope you liked the video and found something helpful in this, and it would be great if you would hit that like button and maybe subscribe to the channel. That would be very helpful. And again, if you have any topics you would love to have covered in these advanced guides, leave a comment down below or tweet me the question and I will try to cover that in an upcoming video. We also have a super nice community Discord with a lot of helpful people, so if there are any questions, feel free to join it. Link is in the description, of course. And yeah, if you don't want to miss the next videos when you subscribe, also hit the bell icon and you will get a notification for the next videos. But yeah guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching and hope to see you on track. Bye bye.
Right side. Clear.
Holy shit! Oh my god! What the fuck was that? Yeah, easy.